There comes a time in every person's life when the walls they once leaned on crumble, when the foundations they trusted give way, and when the life they thought was secure begins to show its cracks. In that moment, the ordinary man surrenders to defeat, but the extraordinary one sees a call to rebuild, not the house, not the circumstances, but himself. You were born with the power to reconstruct your own destiny, brick by brick, thought by thought, day by day. The greatest victories are not won on the battlefield of the world, but in the silent, unshaken chambers of your own mind. And the first law of self-reconstruction is this: make yourself your greatest project, and let your focus be on you every single day. For the man or woman who daily shapes their mind, molds their habits, and commands their purpose, becomes a force that no setback, no critic, no storm can ever break. Every structure ever built began first as an invisible plan in the mind of its creator. The skyscraper that reaches into the clouds, the bridge that spans a mighty river, the grand estates that inspire awe, none of these came into being without first existing as a thought, a detailed design etched in the imagination before it was drawn on paper. The same is true for the human soul, for the life you desire to live, and for the person you wish to become. Your mind is not merely an organ that processes ideas. It is the master architect of your reality. Every success, every failure, every triumph, and every defeat begins with the images you permit to take root in the fertile soil of your thinking. If your life today is not what you wish it to be, it is not because life has failed you. It is because you have allowed a blueprint to form that does not serve the grand design you were meant to build. Rebuilding yourself requires that you go back to the drawing board of your mind and create a new vision with unshakable clarity. You must see yourself as the finished masterpiece before the first stroke of work is ever begun. This is not an act of idle dreaming. It is the deliberate formation of a new mental image that will guide every action you take. The world outside will always mirror the world inside, for the conditions you experience are merely the shadows cast by the thoughts you habitually dwell upon. When a builder sets out to create something lasting, he does not simply stack bricks and hope the structure will stand. He studies the ground, he lays a strong foundation, and he follows a precise design that ensures stability, beauty, and function. So it is with the life you wish to rebuild. If your current circumstances are shaky, it is because the foundation of your thinking was not poured with enough care. The blueprint of your mind has been influenced by fear, doubt, the opinions of others, and the acceptance of limitations that do not belong to you. To rebuild, you must erase those faulty lines and replace them with the clean, bold strokes of purpose, faith, and determination. You cannot build a palace in your life while still holding on to the mental blueprints of a shack. The height of your vision will determine the height of your achievement, for no man ever built higher than he first imagined. This is why the first and greatest step in self-reconstruction is not to change the external, but to completely transform the internal picture that governs your destiny. Every action you take is a direct extension of the mental patterns you have established. If you see yourself as capable, worthy, and destined for greatness, your actions will naturally align with that image. You will speak differently, walk differently, work differently, because you are simply expressing the person you already believe yourself to be. On the other hand, if your inner blueprint is one of self-doubt, failure, and limitation, then no matter how much effort you exert, you will unconsciously sabotage your own progress, for you cannot consistently act in a way that is out of harmony with the image you hold in your mind. It is like a builder following a flawed design. He may have the best materials, the strongest workers, and the most advanced tools, but the structure will still be unstable because the blueprint itself was wrong. The mind, therefore, is not just the starting point. It is the governing force that determines the final result. Rebuilding from within demands a ruthless honesty with yourself. You must examine the mental architecture you have been living by and determine what must be demolished before the new can rise. This is not always a comfortable process, for it requires you to admit that many of your present struggles were not merely the result of fate or circumstance, but the product of the design you allowed yourself to follow. Yet there is tremendous power in this realization, for it means that you hold the pen that can redraw your future. You do not need to wait for permission, for resources, or for conditions to improve before you begin. The moment you decide to revise your mental blueprint, you have already taken the most critical step toward the life you wish to build. The mind is a master craftsman that never ceases its work. Every thought is a stroke of the pen, every belief a line in the plan, every image a part of the greater design. If you think small, your life will be cramped and narrow. If you think bold and limitless, your life will expand to match your vision. But thinking alone is not enough. The blueprint must be precise. You must know exactly the kind of person you intend to become, the values you will uphold, the goals you will pursue, and the impact you will create. Vague plans produce vague results, just as a builder does not simply say, "I want to build something," but instead specifies the exact dimensions, materials, and layout. So too must you be exact in the creation of your inner design. Clarity in thought produces certainty in action, and certainty in action produces mastery in results. There will be those who attempt to influence your blueprint with their own opinions and limitations. They will tell you that your vision is unrealistic, that your plans are too ambitious, that you are overreaching. Understand that these voices are often the echoes of their own incomplete blueprints, built on the shaky foundations of fear and resignation. You must protect your mental plans as fiercely as a builder protects his architectural designs. Do not allow anyone to scribble on them, to erase your lines, or to redraw them in a way that diminishes your potential. This is your life, your structure, your legacy, and the only signature that belongs on its foundation is your own. Every day you must revisit the blueprint in your mind. You must study it, refine it, and reaffirm your commitment to it. This is not a one-time exercise, but a daily discipline, for just as a structure can weaken over time if neglected, so can the mental design of your life be eroded by doubt, distraction, and the storms of daily living. The strength of your inner blueprint determines the strength of the life you build, and the more you reinforce it with focus, belief, and decisive action, the more unshakable it becomes. If you truly desire to rebuild yourself, you must begin by reclaiming authorship over the design of your destiny. The mind is the drawing room where the future is shaped long before it appears in the physical world. Do not be content with patching up old walls or repairing broken beams. Tear down what no longer serves you and design something worthy of your highest potential. See it clearly, believe it completely, and let it become the governing image that guides every choice, every effort, and every step you take. For the world you live in tomorrow is already being built in the workshop of your mind today. Discipline is the quiet force that separates the dreamers from the doers, the planners from the builders, and the wishers from the achievers. Just as cement binds bricks together to create a structure that can withstand the forces of time and weather, daily self-discipline binds together the choices, habits, and actions that create a life of strength and purpose. Without it, your efforts are scattered, your focus is weak, and your progress is temporary. Discipline transforms fleeting motivation into lasting achievement because it operates not on emotion, but on commitment. You do not lay bricks only when the sun is shining and the breeze is gentle. You lay them every day in heat or cold, in comfort or in discomfort, because you have committed to completing the structure. Self-rebuilding requires the same unyielding devotion to the work at hand, no matter how you feel in the moment. Discipline makes the difference between a vision that remains locked in the mind and one that takes solid form in the world. Daily self-discipline is not built overnight. It is forged through repeated choices to honor your commitments even when distractions beckon and excuses whisper. It is the act of rising each morning with a plan and following through with precision. This is the cement of your new life, the element that holds all your efforts together so they do not crumble under pressure. One disciplined action may not seem like much on its own, just as a single grain of sand appears insignificant, but when repeated day after day, these actions form an unshakable foundation that supports your greatest ambitions. The man or woman who has mastered daily discipline becomes unstoppable, for they no longer rely on bursts of inspiration or temporary enthusiasm. They operate from the unshakable law of consistency. In the rebuilding process, discipline ensures that every day counts toward your transformation. You may not see the full results at first, just as the foundation of a building is hidden from view, but the strength it provides will determine the durability of everything you construct above it. Without daily discipline, you are like a builder who works for a few days and then abandons the project for weeks, returning to find that progress has been lost and the work must be redone. Momentum is a precious force in self-rebuilding, and discipline is the key to sustaining it. When you show up each day and do the necessary work, whether it is refining your skills, strengthening your body, shaping your thoughts, or pursuing your goals, you are laying down another row of bricks in the structure of your future. Discipline requires that you control not only your actions but also your environment. Just as wet cement will not set properly if exposed to constant disturbance, your efforts cannot solidify into lasting results if your surroundings pull you away from your focus. This means limiting the distractions, temptations, and influences that weaken your resolve. It may mean rising earlier, structuring your day with clear boundaries, or eliminating habits that drain your time and energy. It may mean saying no to opportunities that seem appealing in the moment, but do not align with the blueprint of your rebuilding. Discipline demands sacrifice, but every sacrifice you make in the name of focus becomes an investment in your future strength. True self-discipline is not about harshness or self-punishment. It is about self-respect. It is the recognition that your goals, your growth, and your potential are worth protecting and prioritizing. It is the refusal to allow comfort, convenience, or the opinions of others to dictate your path. When you discipline yourself to take consistent action, you declare to the world and to yourself that you are serious about the life you are building. Each act of discipline strengthens your confidence because you prove again and again that you can be trusted to follow through. This trust in yourself becomes the core of your resilience, for no setback can destroy a person who has learned the power of consistent effort. Discipline is a daily choice, not a one-time decision. It is renewed each morning and reaffirmed in every moment of temptation. Some days it will feel easy, other days it will feel like a battle. Yet every time you choose discipline over distraction, you fortify the walls of your self-rebuilding. You turn the abstract idea of who you want to become into tangible evidence through your actions. The beauty of discipline is that it compounds over time. The longer you practice it, the more natural it becomes, until it is no longer a struggle but a way of life. What once required tremendous willpower becomes automatic, and the energy that was once spent resisting old habits is now freed to create new achievements. In rebuilding yourself, you will encounter days when the progress seems invisible, when the work feels repetitive, and when the temptation to quit is strong. These are the moments when discipline is most vital. Without it, you will abandon the work before the rewards can be seen. With it, you will push forward until the results emerge, and when they do, they will not be fleeting. They will be permanent because they are built on a foundation of repeated effort. Just as cement must be allowed to set undisturbed for it to reach its full strength, your progress must be reinforced through steady, disciplined action without constant interference from inconsistency. Discipline is also the bridge between intention and mastery. Many people have clear intentions. They know what they want, they can describe it in detail, and they can even feel inspired by it. But without daily discipline, intentions remain powerless. It is the consistent execution of small, deliberate steps that turns knowledge into skill and skill into mastery. Each day of discipline adds another layer to your competence and confidence, making you more capable of building the life you envision. In this way, discipline not only sustains your efforts, but also accelerates your growth. A disciplined life is not one of limitation, it is one of liberation. By mastering yourself, you free yourself from the chains of procrastination, from the chaos of inconsistency, and from the regrets of wasted time. You gain control over the only thing you truly can control, your own actions. And when your actions are aligned with your vision, your life moves inevitably toward the future you have designed. Every choice becomes a building block, every action a strengthening force, every day a step closer to the complete reconstruction of yourself. This is why daily self-discipline is the cement that holds your new life together. It binds your purpose to your actions, your vision to your reality, and your dreams to the unshakable foundation of consistent effort. The human mind is much like a garden, capable of producing either nourishing crops or invasive weeds, depending on what is allowed to take root and grow. Focus is the gardener's hand, choosing which seeds to plant and which to remove. But without vigilance, the weeds of distraction creep in unnoticed. They may seem harmless at first, a small indulgence in idle thought, a quick glance at trivial matters, a moment of delay in your work, but left unchecked, they spread and choke the life from the seeds you have planted. The process of rebuilding yourself demands that you create a mental environment where only the seeds of focus, purpose, and growth are allowed to flourish. Every distraction you permit is a thief, quietly stealing the time, energy, and mental clarity needed to construct the life you envision. To truly rebuild, you must become ruthless in identifying and removing these weeds, for they do not disappear on their own. They thrive in neglect and feed on your inattention. Distractions come in many forms, some obvious, others disguised as harmless or even urgent. They can be the constant pull of technology, the noise of other people's opinions, the lure of comfort over challenge, or the temptation to chase too many goals at once. While each may seem small in isolation, together they scatter your focus, leaving you with fragments of effort in many directions instead of concentrated force in one. A seed cannot grow strong if it is constantly being uprooted and replanted elsewhere. Your attention, like sunlight in the garden, must be directed consistently toward the seeds you want to grow, or they will wither before bearing fruit. Removing distractions is not merely about avoiding wasted time. It is about protecting your energy from being drained by things that do not contribute to your vision. The first step in removing weeds of distraction is awareness. Many people live surrounded by distractions yet fail to see them as such because they have become normal parts of daily life. They believe they are simply responding to what life presents, but in reality, they are reacting to constant interruptions that erode their capacity to focus deeply. To rebuild yourself, you must pause and examine your days with the eyes of a master gardener. Where does your time truly go? Which activities strengthen your vision and which merely fill the hours without moving you forward? Which voices inspire you and which cloud your thinking with doubt or negativity? By answering these questions honestly, you begin to identify the weeds that have taken root in your mental soil. Once identified, the weeds must be removed completely, not trimmed or tolerated. Trimming them gives the illusion of control. but they will quickly grow back, stronger than before. This may require significant changes, limiting exposure to certain environments, ending habits that waste precious hours, or even distancing yourself from people who constantly pull your attention away from your purpose. Such choices may be uncomfortable, but comfort is often the fertile ground where distractions grow best. Every weed you remove makes more room for your seeds of focus to spread and strengthen. Focus is a force multiplier. When all of your attention and energy are directed toward a single purpose, progress accelerates and results compound. In contrast, when focus is divided, energy is diluted, and progress slows to a crawl. Think of sunlight passing through a magnifying glass. When concentrated to a fine point, it can ignite a flame. When scattered, it is harmless warmth. The seeds of yourself rebuilding need that same concentrated heat to grow. Each time you allow a distraction to pull you away, it is as though you have shifted the magnifying glass and broken the connection between your energy and your purpose. Another truth about weeds is that they are persistent. Even when you clear them from your garden, they will attempt to return, carried by the winds of habit, environment, and human nature. This is why maintaining focus is not a one-time act, but a continual process of vigilance. You must regularly inspect your mental garden, pulling out any distractions before they take root. Over time, this practice strengthens your ability to recognize distractions immediately and reject them before they can consume your attention. In doing so, you not only protect your seeds, but also train your mind to remain anchored in the present task, free from the constant pull of scattered thoughts. Removing distractions does not mean living without joy or spontaneity. It means choosing with intention how you spend your time and energy. It means deciding that your vision for your life deserves priority over every fleeting urge or external demand. It means creating boundaries that protect your focus, whether that is carving out dedicated hours for deep work, turning off devices that constantly call for your attention, or creating spaces, physical and mental, where only your highest goals are allowed to exist. Boundaries are like the garden fence, keeping out the animals that would trample your plants before they bear fruit. Without them, the seeds you have planted are left vulnerable to whatever passes by. There is also a deeper reason to remove distractions beyond the preservation of time. Distractions fragment the mind. Every time your attention shifts from one thing to another, you lose not only the minutes spent, but also the mental momentum that fuels meaningful work. The mind works best when it can immerse itself fully in a single pursuit, entering a state where thoughts flow effortlessly and progress feels natural. This state is impossible to achieve when you are constantly being pulled in different directions. Just as a plant cannot thrive if it is uprooted each day and moved to a new location, you cannot reach your full potential if your focus is scattered and unsettled. Weeds also rob plants of essential resources, water, nutrients, sunlight, that are necessary for growth. In the same way, distractions drain your creative energy, your emotional resilience, and your mental clarity. You may not notice the loss at first, but over time you will find yourself fatigued, uninspired, and wondering why progress feels so difficult. By removing distractions, you reclaim these resources and redirect them toward the work that matters most. You begin to notice greater clarity in your thinking, stronger motivation to act, and a deeper satisfaction in your progress. The more you remove distractions, the more space you create for intentional action. This space is where true self-rebuilding happens, not in rushed, fragmented moments, but in periods of sustained effort and focus. When you give yourself the gift of uninterrupted time, you allow your seeds of purpose to take root deeply, drawing strength from your undivided attention. Over time, these seeds grow into habits, skills, and achievements that form the structure of your new life. The garden of your mind becomes a place of order, beauty, and productivity, free from the wild overgrowth that once held it back. Ultimately, the act of removing distractions is an act of commitment. It is a declaration that your vision is too important to be delayed, diluted, or destroyed by things that do not matter. It is the decision to guard your focus as a precious resource, to invest it wisely, and to protect it fiercely from anything that would diminish its power. In this disciplined cultivation of your mental garden, you create the conditions for your seeds of focus to grow strong, bear fruit, and sustain the life you are determined to build. Persistence is the invisible hand that continues to build when the eyes can no longer see the progress. It is the unshakable determination to keep laying bricks, even when the walls seem to rise slowly, even when storms beat against the structure, and even when others have walked away. In the work of rebuilding yourself, persistence is the force that ensures the vision does not fade into a forgotten dream. It takes the blueprint you have drawn and the discipline you have practiced and pushes them forward day after day, transforming effort into achievement. Many start with energy and ambition, but few remain through the trials that test the depth of their commitment. Persistence is what separates those who finish from those who abandon the work halfway. The nature of rebuilding is such that results are rarely immediate. Just as a builder does not see the roof until the foundation, framework, and walls are complete, you will not see the highest rewards of your self-reconstruction until many smaller layers of work have been completed. This is where most people falter. They expect rapid progress, and when it does not arrive, they convince themselves the effort is wasted. But persistence understands that progress is often invisible before it becomes undeniable. It is the steady hand that continues to work even when the mind whispers that nothing is changing. Every day you persist, you strengthen the foundation of your transformation, making it capable of supporting the life you envision. Obstacles are inevitable in this process, and persistence is your answer to each one. You will encounter days when your energy is low, when unexpected events disrupt your plans, when the path forward becomes unclear, and when doubt whispers that perhaps you should return to the familiar life you once knew. But persistence does not negotiate with these thoughts. It refuses to retreat. It understands that obstacles are not signs to quit, but invitations to grow stronger. Each challenge you overcome through persistence becomes a stone in the wall of your resilience, making the structure of your new self unshakable against future storms. Persistence is not stubbornness without thought. It is intelligent determination. It adjusts the method without abandoning the mission. If a builder finds that the material he is using is flawed, he does not stop building altogether. He finds better material and continues the work. In the same way, persistence allows you to adapt when circumstances change while holding firm to your ultimate goal. You may need to alter your approach, develop new skills, or take a detour, but as long as you refuse to abandon the destination, you are still building. The danger in abandoning persistence is that the work you have already done begins to erode. Without continual effort, even the strongest structures deteriorate over time. Momentum is lost, confidence fades, and the vision begins to blur. Many people restart their rebuilding over and over because they lack the persistence to see the process through to completion. They tear down what they have begun and return to the foundation again and again, never allowing the walls to rise high enough to support the life they desire. Persistence prevents this cycle by ensuring that each day adds to what was built the day before. One of the greatest truths about persistence is that it compounds. The more you persist, the stronger your capacity to persist becomes. Each time you push through difficulty, you prove to yourself that you can endure, and this self-belief fuels the will to continue. In time, persistence becomes less of a struggle and more of a habit. It becomes the natural way you respond to challenges, turning what once seemed impossible into a series of smaller, manageable steps. This transformation is the quiet reward of persistence. By the time you reach your goal, you have also become the kind of person who can achieve far more than you once imagined. Persistence also has a way of outlasting resistance. Challenges, critics, and circumstances often rely on wearing you down. They cannot stop you outright, but they hope to exhaust you until you willingly give up. When you persist, you deny them that victory. The resistance you face will eventually fade, weaken, or move aside when it realizes you will not quit. Just as constant drops of water can wear away the hardest stone, steady, persistent effort can break through obstacles that seemed immovable at first. In the rebuilding of yourself, persistence is the guard against the temptation to settle for less than your vision. There will be moments when progress feels sufficient, when you think you have improved enough to be comfortable, and the thought of pushing further feels unnecessary. But comfort is a quiet enemy in the process of growth. It lulls you into stopping before you have reached your true potential. Persistence refuses to be satisfied with partial completion. It reminds you that the blueprint you created was not for a half-built structure, but for the full realization of your vision. There will be seasons where persistence feels like walking through fog. You may not see far ahead, but you keep moving forward, trusting that the path will reveal itself with each step. This trust is built on the understanding that consistent effort, no matter how small, accumulates over time into meaningful progress. Even on the days when the work feels insignificant, persistence assures you that every action is a contribution to the whole. Like a mason laying bricks one by one, you may not see the full wall until it is complete, but each brick is essential to its strength. Persistence is also fueled by purpose. When you are deeply connected to the reason you began rebuilding in the first place, it becomes far easier to endure the challenges along the way. This is why clarity of vision is so vital. When the work becomes hard, your why becomes the anchor that keeps you steady. Without it, persistence weakens and the temptation to quit grows stronger. But with it, persistence becomes an act of loyalty to yourself, a daily reaffirmation that your future is worth every ounce of effort you give. Those who master persistence become unshakable not because they never face difficulty, but because they refuse to allow difficulty to have the final say. They see each setback as part of the process, each delay as an opportunity to strengthen their resolve, and each challenge as proof that they are on a path worth traveling. In time, persistence transforms your identity. You no longer see yourself as someone who tries, but as someone who continues until the work is done. This identity becomes your greatest strength, for once you know you will not quit, no obstacle can truly defeat you. In the end, persistence is the bridge between vision and reality. It connects the initial spark of inspiration to the finished structure of your rebuilt self. Without it, even the most brilliant blueprint and the most disciplined actions will fall short. But with it, there is no limit to what can be achieved, for persistence will carry you through every setback, every delay, and every doubt until the vision you once saw only in your mind stands fully formed in your life. You were not placed on this earth to remain broken, scattered, or unfinished. You were given the mind to design, the discipline to build, the focus to protect, and the persistence to see it through. Rebuilding yourself is not a single act. It is a daily commitment to shape your inner world so powerfully that your outer world must rise to match it. The blueprint you hold in your mind today becomes the life you live tomorrow. The discipline you practice each day binds your efforts into lasting strength. The focus you guard against distraction ensures that your energy feeds only what matters. And the persistence you embody transforms vision into reality. No matter how long the road or how fierce the storm, the tools are in your hands, the foundation is beneath your feet, and the time is now. Begin building the life you were always meant to live. and do it with such unwavering commitment that the world cannot help but see the masterpiece you have become.